What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Star Wars Outlaws yet again, one more time, and maybe we can talk about it like with the review scores when those come out, so maybe this isn't the last video before the game comes out. I want to talk about my last video, and honestly, I don't normally do this, and this isn't out of, like, offense. This is out of, I think there's some interesting things to talk about here. Okay, I really want to make that clear. This is not me whining about it. The video is actually doing quite well, and there are more likes to dislikes. I think there's more people that understood kind of what I was getting at than just calling me a shill, right? So it's not out of my feelings being hurt. I'm very good actually disconnecting and not caring. But I see an opportunity here to talk about a couple different things that I think are just interesting in general. So stay with me here, okay? Let's talk about this, and you guys let me know what you think in the comments. There's a couple different paths I want to go down, right? One of which is like the Ubisoft shill, the paid kind of thing. And there's something I was afraid / I predicted would happen. And it's not to call me like Nostradamus or anything like that. But we did talk about, I made a video specifically on kind of that drama of, are they pampering people, right? They're flying people out and they're going to Disney and all this stuff. And I'm happy with that video. I'm happy with what I said in it. But just to re-say some things and to address some, again, comments that I got, I predicted that as we got closer, any positivity whatsoever would be labeled as a shill, would be labeled as paid content, right? And again, granted, this is not because 1,000 people told me it, right? It was only a couple, maybe 5, 6, 7 people said that to me. But it still, I think, proves me right in my prediction where I don't understand it. I don't understand that I guess we live in a world now, right, where if you say that you are excited for / you are going to get a game, there is a group of people, not everybody, but there is a group of people that immediately label you as paid off. And it's not just a Ubisoft thing. I know Ubisoft's been put under the spotlight with a situation like this. And as I said in that video, and as other people said, in the comments of that video, this is not new. This happens all the time. You go back to Hogwarts Legacy, they flew people out. They went to Universal. They got to play with the wands and do all sorts of, they got to experience an amusement park, which I think is better, by the way, than Disneyland. I think Universal is much better. They got to do that. They got to play like 3-4 hours of the game. That's in a way like fine dining. That's in a way pampering. In fact, it's the exact same thing as Star Wars Outlaws with whale watching and whatever the hell else they did, with this game. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying it happens a lot, and that's why I wanted to make that, first video where, how do you trust people, or do you trust people? And that's up to the individual person. I think you can still trust people, by the way, that are flown out. I 1,000% think you can still trust them. It depends on each individual creator, depends on each journalist, and I think it puts more on us as like the viewers, where it's like, well, now we have to go through their freaking backlog and watch a bunch of them and say, okay, well, like do we feel like their integrity has been compromised? Sometimes it is, but also sometimes it's not. And so again, we had that talk with Star Wars Outlaws, and I had predicted, and we haven't even gotten there yet. We got partially there with something like a video of mine, right? But wait about a week and a half from now, right? When it's, okay, the reviews are out and somebody gave it an 8. Or somebody said, hey, I recommend buying it. Or I liked it. Maybe you should buy it or take a look at it. Wait until that happens. Again, there's nuance to it. But a byproduct of it is you have some of these people online that just immediately, they're basically like robots. A lot of these people do not think, right? Like the people that call me the shill or, specifically wrote to me, it's like, clearly you haven't been around long. You can look at my 6,000 videos. You can look at the size of my channel. You think Ubisoft's flying me? You think I've ever been flown out? You know what I mean? It's so, to me, it's so stupid to just assume that if somebody says they're interested in something, they're immediately paid off. That is one of the dumbest things that a person, now, it could be true, but I don't think to just assume that off the jump is, what I mean? I don't know why in God's name anybody would do that. Now, again, to play devil's advocate and to have an actual conversation about this, something that I think many people wouldn't, right? There is kind of like a culture that's built like that, right? Like you have to take a serious look at this pampering kind of idea of creators and flying them out. And again, it's not just a Ubisoft thing. You have to look at that and say, is that causing these people, right? I mean, and is that fair? Is it fair to start to not trust people when you feel that they might be paid off? See, I think it's almost two discussions, right? Like, is that fair to kind of talk about and to rationalize? Yes, I think it is. Is it also fair, though, to just assume that everybody who says it, and again, like that That's just what I can't, like, unbelievably stupid. I cannot believe that there are some people online that they see just saying something positive about it, right? I didn't even say you have to get the game, right? I said why I'm getting Star Wars Outlaws. I don't care what you do with your money. That's the whole point. That's the entire point. And I've really tried to stick with that as long as I have, on this channel. Like, you know what I mean? To jump immediately to, oh, you must have been flown out by them. It kind of shows where we are as a society, right? Like online, but only some people. Again, like it's an interesting conversation. I'm not necessarily singling anybody out, and I'm not saying it was everybody because it absolutely wasn't. And then, the other kind of angle I guess I wanted to walk down, which is also more, both of these are kind of like personal choices, right? Like I'm really interested in that stuff. And, again, one of my main things I try to do here is not tell you what to do. And this is something that I talked about a little bit with Assassin's Creed. I got myself into some hot water, so I'm going to try to word it differently, and I do think it's different for Star Wars than it is for Assassin's Creed. There are some people, though, that, again, shocker, like I don't understand. Because I go back to the Hogwarts Legacy thing, and we talked about this with Assassin's Creed, where a lot of the people that I'm seeing that bring up the woke stuff or the DEI stuff, all this stuff, and we're not going to get into it. There can be long conversations on it. Knock yourselves out. But the people that bring this stuff up, like they generally like write the same kind of stuff. They talk in the same kind of speech patterns. Like it is true. I could tell from my comments, right? Like these people are all somewhat the same, which is not necessarily bad. These feel like the people to me that were on a game like Hogwarts Legacy side. So let's bring back that. It's my favorite comparison probably in the world to make. But I do think it's so important because it's so hypocritical to me. When you have Hogwarts Legacy, you saw so many people, including myself, defend it and say, you do what you want with your money. You're playing Hogwarts Legacy in your own home. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with it, right? You're not supporting whatever you think you're supporting. JK is so separate from it that it's not even funny. Okay. I feel like so many of these people are doing the opposite. They're not staying with the same standard. They're doing the opposite with Star Wars Outlaws, where now it's, you're spending $70 on this. Shame on you. Shame on you for spending the $70. And by God, you better not tell anybody else to spend the $70 because you can't support this kind of stuff. Okay, doesn't that sound? And I get it. Taking a stand, grouping all up. I understand it. I get it. At the same time, and I've really adopted this, I would say honestly, in the last year or two. Life is short. Life is so short. We don't have a lot of time. It's not doomsday. Our lives. You don't have fun. Do what you want with your money. And that's where I always go back to, and I think it makes these people upset for some reason. You have your money. You think a game is interesting. You think a game is cool. Why in God's name is it a bad thing for you to buy that game? Why are people shunned for speaking positively about the game? And heaven forbid that they convince a poor soul to spend their money on the game. Why is that intrinsically evil? Why are people and these are the same people that defended the right to buy or not buy Hogwarts Legacy. And again, the reason why Hogwarts is just so important is because that was just such a cultural war online. Journalists were attacking developers. There were lists of people that were streaming Hogwarts Legacy, and people would go and make these streamers cry. This was stuff we've never seen before, taken to a whole new level. So it is, I think, a great comparison just in the practice or idea of how you spend your money. And it's just rich to me to see these people kind of flip, right? Back with Hogwarts, it's, hey, you want to spend your money? Spend it. Or don't spend it. It's your money. Why are you letting outside, all this drama or outside hate or outside attacks? Why would you let that change your opinion as to buying a game or not? And then those same people, or at least some of them, right? Maybe not all of them, but some of them, then they're doing that with Star Wars Outlaws. Shame on you for buying the game. Didn't we just do this? And weren't we trying to defend against it and defend the idea that make your own goddamn decision? Do what you want to do with that money. That money is yours. It's not mine. It's not the person, the commenter on the internet. It's your money. If you want to buy Hogwarts and you're playing in your own home, who are you hurting in the outside world? Nobody, because those people were dumb. Those people said some stupid stuff. You're not hurting a single soul. You're enjoying it. It's your life, right? Oh, now all of a sudden, now you can't do it for Star Wars Outlaws, though, because we have to protect against woke ideology. That's fine. You can protect against woke. You can do... But, why are we taking it that one step further? Like, shouldn't we try to keep the same standards? You can preach and you could say, hey, I don't like what they're doing. I think they're doing this woke stuff. I think they're doing this, that, the other thing. And that's it. Like, you leave it there. You make your point through awareness, right? You say, hey, look at this. Like, hey, maybe there's a better game, or like, look at what happens when you don't do this kind of stuff with another game. You know, you sure, like, wouldn't you want to support this and things like that? But like, they always take it the one step further to shaming. It's always about shaming for some God unknown reason, right? And we just did that with Hogwarts Legacy. People were shamed in trying to not buy the game. People were trying to actively have people not buy Hogwarts, and they were doing it through insults, through attacks, and through shame. And the people that defended the buyer, the purchaser, is now doing that attacking part. They've switched sides. They've switched just because it's a different political thing. Now it's not so politically great for these people, right? Now it's something that they don't like in Star Wars Outlaws, and that's fine. That's fine. You know what you do with that? You don't buy the game. And you tell people, hey, again, like, look at this thing. Like, we're not a big fan of this or that or what, you know? But you don't say, oh, my God, like, you know, this is the people. I've seen comments. I kind of want to end with this. Like, the richest thing to me, and I feel like you just kind of, like, get into the groove, like, the longer you're online. I love the comments of, like, you're wasting $70. And, like, because that line is just so funny. People waste money every day, and they do it in their own way. I buy things, right? Like when I go to the grocery store, I'm sure I buy something that you would think is a waste of money. I'm sure you would buy something that I think, you know, I don't, and this is just like let me just tell a story. Like, I don't drink coffee. I don't drink energy. I drink like pop, like Mountain Dew, but not like a ton, right? But I don't have any kind of morning like energy. I just wake up and I do it. And I think, by the way, I think that's the better way of doing it. But again, you do you. But okay, so anybody that buys coffee, to me, that's a waste of money because I'm saving. Well, how much you spend at Dunkin' Donuts, right? You spend $5-6 a day. That's a waste of money to me because I don't spend that money. But I don't even think, I think of that like when I'm trying to do comebacks to people, right? Because it doesn't matter because it's your $5-6. Now, you might think that, you know, but you're going to go out and tell people, yeah, you know, like buying those batteries, what a freaking waste of money. Like, I wouldn't have bought those batteries. Okay. All right, but is it your money? No. So maybe you should just like not care as much. I mean, maybe you can even care, but to then petition and to shame the person to say, hey, like, you better not ever leave the house again because like people are going to laugh at you for buying those batteries. Or, you know, like if you're not going to stop buying coffee, like shame on you. It's the same thing. It's just this is with an entertainment product and this is with a game. But people waste money all the time. So I don't know. I love that line because I try to like get deep in thought with that honestly recently, like a couple months ago, where it's like, it's just such a stupid comment because you waste money to me every day and I waste money to you every day and we don't really seem to care. You're not commenting me and saying, oh, you know, the only thing we really care about is like, I don't know if I can say it for you to, you know, but say something that you can do chaining with and, you know, it could hurt your lungs and stuff like that. We kind of actively shame that because of the, you know, the health effects and that's been like a thing, right, in society. That's kind of it. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's a couple other things out there, but we don't shame people for coffee. We don't shame people for like Netflix subscriptions. Talk about a waste of money there, right? Maybe, but maybe not. Maybe it's not a waste of money to you. See, that's the point right there. Maybe the Netflix subscription isn't a waste of money to that person that actively wanted Netflix and got the Netflix subscription. Isn't that crazy? They didn't think it was a waste of money. Oh, so for Star Wars Outlaws, maybe the people that are into it, maybe they're not all paid off, and maybe they're genuinely into it. And so guess what? It's not a waste of money. Not if they enjoy it. If they're ripped off, if the game's just not good. And guess what? I'll tell you that too. I'll call this game out. That's something, you know, when you watch one video of mine and you label me, you know, a paid Ubisoft shill, you might not know. I've Skull and Bones, I ripped to freaking shreds, right? Like, I'm not afraid of doing that. So, I don't know. It's just, again, I find these conversations to be interesting. I'm not saying I'm always right. I'm not saying, like, every one of these points I'm perfectly in the right on, but it's just interesting to see the flip-flopping with some of these kind of, like justice war. I mean, like, that's an old term, right? But these people that kind of stand for these different sides of cultural things, it's funny to see them shift so frequently, and you see that with something like this. And then, again, in terms of, like, the wasting and the shaming and stuff like that. It's such a stupid, it was stupid with Hogwarts, it's stupid with coffee, it's stupid with Star Wars Outlaws, it's stupid with everything. So that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.